Hello, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat to industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favourite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Rod Dewar from Fronius Australia. Rod, how are you, mate?
Good. How are you, mate?
I am very well. I'm fully recovered now after an epic week last week at the Smart Energy Conference.
Yeah, it was a big week, especially with all the preparations, etc., and being on the stand. But it was great to have a lot of people come past and see a lot of people. Some don't know how many numerous times I said, "Geez, I don't think I've seen you for about 3 years." So no, it was a great event.
It was actually amazing to see how many people did actually show up. I mean, I wasn't too sure what the attendance would be like, but I'm pretty sure, Grimes, he said that was like, the best attendance so far that, the SEC's had.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. It was, we were in two minds if it was going to be good or not, but it did turn out to be a good event.
No, very good, mate. Well, look, thank you once again for joining us. I mean, Fronius, I think anyone watching today or listening today would know that, would have heard of the brand. I mean, I've been in Solar Power since 2009, and Fronius has certainly been around there. Energy Matters has been around since 2005, and I think we were key at in 2005 into getting the Fronius brand into Australia. So it's certainly a brand that's kind of very close to our hearts. But just before we get stuck into the business itself, Rod, a bit background on yourself, mate. I mean, tell me about your journey to date and how you got into the renewable industry.
Well, to be honest, I kind of fell into it really. So I lived in Germany for about 15 years, came back to Australia and was looking for work out here. I had nothing to do with renewables coming over here, and I'm an electronics technician from in terms of trade or what I learned. Looked around for jobs around that, and I saw this European manufacturer setting up base in Australia, looking for a technician. Some experience in renewables would be an advantage type of thing, etc. And it sounded interesting. And the one thing that really appealed to me to start off with was that German would be an advantage if I could speak that, which I can. Went for the job and got it, and that's this September I'll be 12 years at Fronius. So
wow. Yeah. Now, real quick, I mean, your background, I mean, that actually is from Austria, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Austrian. Yeah, so I mean, obviously they speak German there with a bit of dialect depending on where you are things, but yeah, it's German. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And what is the setup like in Austria? I mean, it's supposed to be. I mean, just looking at that background that you have right now, it looks insane.
Yeah, no, well, that's why I've got the background there a bit. That's in the foyer of one of the head office buildings there, located in Wells. All the complexes there are pretty amazing, especially the R&D building, which was built or rebuilt probably about 6 years ago, I think it was 6 or 7, maybe even a bit longer. The temperature control and the energy control in that thing, it's basically fully self-sufficient even through winter, from thermal storage through to your massive solar system on the roof, etc. as well. It's all the building is completely designed to be like a very sustainable building. It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, like anyone, and once again, I mean, like, anyone involved in the industry, even from a consumer level, who may not necessarily have gone solar power will know the name Fronius. I mean, you guys have literally been at the forefront of the advancement of technology, since inception, right? So, especially in my like 10 or 12 years in this industry, you guys have always had amazing tech. I mean, just for anyone listening or watching today, I mean, what would you want them to know about Fronius? What 3 things would you say differentiates Fronius from their competitors?
I could talk about that all day, really.
Just 3.
Give you 3. Look, so I think one of the main things I think is what's really important is the sustainability of the products and sustainability of the processes in the company, like in all facets of it. So I think if you think about solar, and we're kind of seeing this in a bit of a trend as well. So a lot of people get solar because it saves you money. Want to reduce electricity bills, etc. That's always kind of been the case, but we're really seeing more of a like a social conscience, really, I guess, of where a component sourced, or what type of materials, slave labor type things, all these kind of things, is really becoming more important. And we've got a whole department that really optimizes how we produce the inverters, where we get the parts from, and also the end of life, as we call it. So it's kind of like this, what I call it, cradle to grave process, looking right from the incision of the start of the product right to the end of it. What happens with the components, what happens to the parts, how much can be recycled at the end of it. And that's a huge part of what we look into the product. So especially the Gen 24s is, in our analysis, probably the most sustainable inverter on the market out there. When you look at all the various facets of what you can, where it's come from, or where it's going to go. So I think that's that. Fronius is a family-owned business. We're over 75 years old. Obviously not 75 years in solar. That'd be pretty awesome if it was. But still, since 92. So we're probably one of the original or very early inverter manufacturers, and we're still going, and it's still a family-owned business. The CEO is the granddaughter of the founder, and we don't rely on banks and things. It's all self-funded basically. So I don't know. Number 3, or we could have put it. Various ones, but probably a third one would be. Some people, I guess, consumers might, see on social media and things sometimes, or sometimes on forums, that Fronius utilize a fan for their cooling of the inverter. So, and sometimes we've had the odd customer mention that the fan has been a bit loud or something, and it's usually been cases where it's next to a bedroom, they do night shift or something like that. But I think one of the things, it's a super important part of the design. To extend the life of the electronic components, because basically a 10% rise in temperature of electronic components, and half the life of the components. So we try and keep the components as cool as possible, and you just kind of look at some other things like a PlayStation or something like that. A computer. Lots of things have fans, and that's really to make sure that the device lasts, and that kind of ties in also to our sustainability of the product and the longevity of the product. We're just trying our best to really have nothing to do with this throwaway type culture that's can be out there with various products and things, not just solar. So. Yeah.
And to be fair, that's almost become the trend in electronics. We're obviously a bit, maybe, I don't know how old you are, but I'm in my mid-40s, and I remember back in the day, you bought a television that lasted for 10 years. Everything seemed to last for a very long time, and my parents would talk about it more than I know. But over time, things have just done the complete opposite. It literally is. Things almost designed to fail and be thrown away within a year to 2 years. And it's like they cost more money than they cost back then, and relatable cost, and yet they don't last as long. So it really has become the norm, and we're trying to reduce, the amount of waste. We're looking to do the opposite of that. So
we've got it's like a repair center as well. So like the office in Australia, we have a full-blown repair center. I think we were probably one of the first manufacturers to really have that. Let's say international manufacturers. So that's a big part of maintaining that sustainability with the product as well.
No, that's fantastic, mate. In terms of distribution, like your product, I know, is used extensively by, I think we'd assume like almost every, retailer or installer out there at some point would install the Fronius inverter or would want to. In terms of distribution, I'm assuming it's available readily anywhere from a wholesale point of view.
So we've got, I think it's now, as I said, it's not really my department, but it's about 6 or 7 distributors, and they're all nationwide, most of them, etc. So we do sell to installers, is the point of contact, but we bring in all the stock in via our sales partners or wholesalers, distributors, whatever you want to call them. And that all comes in via sea freight. Again, a lot of planning in advance for that. I mean, that'd be very difficult to sell to end customers, etc. If bringing things on sea freight. And the reason we do that as well is, again, all part of that carbon footprint, to leave as least footprint as possible.
No, fantastic. So what I'd like to move on to now is Open Homes Australia. We have our season finale happening this weekend. It's going to be absolutely awesome. The home is just breathtaking. Before we get stuck into it, let's just quickly put the preview on so people who are watching can actually have a look, and those who are listening will just have to listen out for it.
On this episode of Open Homes, an inner city build that's turning heads, an eye-catching design, a coastal dream home, a traditional home with a modern twist, Dave Franklin's own backyard, and this ultra-modern home tucked away in Tallabudra Valley must be seen to be believed.
We came up the hill here and it just opened up into this beautiful 360-degree view. We knew straight away this was the spot we had to build our house.
Come with us as we step inside.
So that home at the end is the home.
Yeah.
It's an absolute doozy. So, I mean, we were lucky because we literally got there to film. There's a couple of times we tried to film. The first time we didn't manage to pull it off. And I think that's a combination of just COVID and weather. The second time was just after the floods, and there were still floods happening. So we were lucky just to be able to get to it. But my God, what a beautiful home.
Yeah, no, I did had a look at it. It's amazing. Yeah, makes you pretty jealous to be up on that spot. Just the spot alone is amazing as well.
Absolutely, and that home is completely fitted out with renewable energy technology, which is why I love it so much, including 2 of your inverters. So first, before we get to that, why did Fronius choose to get involved in Open Homes Australia? Why did you choose to have a segment on our show?
Paul approached us first and spoke about it and said, there's this show that he's getting involved in. So we really took a look at it. I mean, it's probably more of a question for our sales director or marketing director on that. But looking at the segment and looking at the things that you guys have been doing, Open Homes have been doing, is just looked really amazing, especially when it comes to energy management and quality equipment and quality homes. Just felt really that that fitted into what we do at Fronius as well and where we want to go. So
no, fantastic. I mean, from an energy management point of view, I mean, we're very we love our involvement on the show. I mean, we obviously have our segment every single week, and we want to showcase the latest and greatest technology. And for us, I mean, firstly, Paul at GreenSpark Electrical in Queensland installed an absolutely stunning system. I mean, great panels, inverter battery, EV charger. I mean, the full Monty, and in particular in that property was not only the Fronius Simo inverter, but also the Gen 24, which is a hybrid inverter and absolutely amazing. I mean, I know this is going to be covering the show, but we won't give too much away. But with the Gen 24, tell us a little bit about that particularly.
So it's the new generation of our inverters, and there's been a big leap in the technology internally from power conversion, but mainly around the communications and the interoperability with other things. So with batteries, also being able to do backup, provide power in an outage, but also being able to integrate with various other devices within the home. So EV charger, being able to read out data from the inverter and using excess solar to divert to, let's say, hot water, or to divert to a EV, so an electric car, and so forth. Yeah.
I mean, in that particular property, and what's really pertinent about the segment, which was amazing, was literally, as I said, we filmed it just after the floods, and that home, it lost power. I mean, it literally lost power for about 4 or 5 days, during the floods. And so when I went up there to do the filming, I mean, the customer was like, look, the technology we had installed absolutely stood up for itself in respect to the fact that, although it was raining, we still managed to generate solar power. we still managed to store in our battery, and then using the Gen 24 specifically to be able to, ensure the home almost ran off grid in those moments. It gave them power for those 4 or 5 days. And all they really needed the power for was obviously refrigeration, lighting, but also to power their, their not their Wi-Fi, but their internet. And they use the Tesla. What's the Tesla internet service, satellite internet service?
Is it Stargate or Star?
It sounds like Skynet, but it's not Skynet. It's not quite Terminator, but but powered that, which means they had internet connectivity, they had lighting, they had refrigeration, they had the EV being able to be charged or not the property. I mean, that's exactly what people are asking for right now. They want to be off grid. But they know, it's not wise to be. It's those wise to be good connected where you can do, but it gives them that independence. Are you finding sales? I mean, is a Gen 24 readily available right now in Australia, or is it just kind of still, new?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. No, it's definitely available. Getting good numbers and things coming in, so people are becoming more aware of the product. So it pretty much got released towards the end of last year, and it's been taking off since then. So yeah, seeing a much bigger uptake, week on week, month on month. Yeah. Good
stuff, mate. So a few little questions just around the industry. I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs and a bit of turmoil across the world, period. And then the impacts of COVID, as well as the energy crisis in China and a lack of raw materials. There's it's almost like the perfect storm right now. What trends are you guys seeing in the market? How have things changed? We're now in May. How have things changed from how they were from obviously coming into last year to now? Are things improving?
It has been tough. Like, it's been really tough for installers when we speak to a lot of our guys. It's been a tough year. Depending on which state you're in as well. Obviously, with the floods, has been that's been pretty devastating for quite a few businesses. But we're seeing installers like kind of pulling together and holding together. In terms of market trends, I guess we're seeing people more particular, looking a bit more in detail as to what the systems can do. And also from a monitoring perspective as well, we're seeing people more interested in looking at what the system's producing, how they're using the energy, and being able to adjust their usage according to that. Even without the use of a battery, and bigger systems as well. So when people do put in systems, they're getting bigger. I think with the onset of the cable, trying to electrify things going forward as well. Moving away from gas where possible, and I guess at some stage onset of potentially getting an EV.
Absolutely. The one message we're clear on when we're communicating with any of our potential consumers is install whatever you can fit. That roof, as long as you're okay with it, it provides another level of insulation. So just get as many panels on that roof as you possibly can do, and irrespective of whether you get batteries right now, it's a great thing to do. On that note, what are your opinions around batteries and EV? Do you think, from your personal opinion, people should buy them today?
That's a tough one, because it really depends. Look, it really does depend on what you want to do with it. If you just looking to, this is my opinion, if you're just looking to store your excess energy, most people come think about that first. I've got all this excess energy feeding it to the grid, not getting much for it. I want to store and use it later. From a monetary point of view, it really doesn't make sense to do that, because by the time you pay it off, and a lot of these calculations are done incorrectly. There's a lot of people out there who are saying it could be worth it. I'd really kind of question that, I guess, because by the time you pay it off, most of the batteries are around 10-year warranty, I think. So it's not as if it's going to fall off a cliff at 10 years, but they do say that the life of the battery and the health of the battery is reduced to a certain amount by that time. I don't think that's really kind of worth, but there's a lot of different things. People have different reasons for doing batteries as well. So, good example is that home you're talking about. So, backup. How how important it is for me to have power when there's an outage. I mean, you can't sometimes put a monetary value on that. That's something which is a emotional thing, but also a necessity sometimes. And I think what's kind of happening with batteries as well is there's a lot of what they call VPP, so virtual power plants. And basically what that is retailers or aggregators or, like say, third-party companies utilizing some portions of your battery at certain times, and you getting remunerated it's a word for that. So being paid for that. So, and that can help with the return on investment for a battery. So I mean, the EV. So you go.
No, sorry. Talk about EVs quickly. What are your thoughts around EVs?
So just the EV quick. Look, I think prices are really coming down with those. I was surprised myself, at the prices of the Teslas, etc. And I think, look, I'm not an expert on it really, but if you look at there's been a lot of studies or reports done. If you look at the overall cost of time, maintenance, obviously fuel going up, from a monetary point of view, it's really starting to stack up. Apart from that, the environmental point of view is massive, of course, so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like one of the game changers, I mean, and you absolutely bang on in terms of the return of investment calculation from the battery itself with a 10-year warranty. It kind of, with today's pricing, it doesn't stack up. I think it really is. People go batteries because they obviously want to do the right thing by the environment and, sort of reduce their carbon impact as much as possible. And they're just over the fact that their electricity bill keeps on going up and up and up and up. Wants a bit more control. EVs, on the other hand, I mean, it's certainly the ROI does stack up. And especially now the prices are coming down. We were at the BYD Experience Centre in Sydney, whilst we were at the SEC last week, and to see beautiful looking cars like around $35,000 to $45,000 with incredible technology. I mean, I was like, you know what? It's come a long way. I mean, as soon as EVs are bidirectional or properly bidirectional and legally allowed to be so in Australia, so they can power your home as well, I mean, then it's another conversation altogether. It becomes super, super exciting. Really, staying on zero carbon future, I mean, what are your thoughts on climate change? It's quite a contentious question. Everyone has a different. What's yours?
Look, I think I don't think there's enough being done. Let's say from a federal level, I don't think so. I heard a few. I had a podcast, like an interview on the radio the other day, which had a lot of interesting things to say about what is actually happening in the background and what are some of these schemes doing, etc. So, and it's. I know it didn't sound very clear. It's getting a bit of a clarity what's out there as well. I think. I mean, it's pretty much it's not really up for debate anymore, really. If you look at, climate change, it's a thing. So I think the technology is there. I think the federal government is lacking a bit of direction in that. So certain state governments are better, I think, with that. But the technology, I think, is there. And it just needs some more push or some more backing behind it to really kind of coordinate and push it there. I think, but I think the thing that gives me hope, I guess, is that business and people are driving it. Let's say even if the government's not, the people and businesses are driving it. So which I think will, I'm positive that we will get there. So, but I think there is there is more that the federal government could do, I think. So, yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to be a very, very interesting election. And we purposely, I've considered many times to get the at least the local members in my area, to come in and say their piece, but we almost don't want to open up the rabbit hole and and see what comes out. But the same token is this election is going to be interesting to see actually who does get in power. Firstly, and secondly, if they do, what do they do about it? Because there is a lot to be done. And look, and you bang on. We agree. State governments have actually been very supportive and implement different programs and using whatever funding they have. And in some cases, a really great way. Victoria is a fantastic example of that in terms of how much is put back into the industry, and it's getting huge amounts of installations as a result. And at the same token, from a federal point of view, you kind of look at, how much cash we spend on defense. Well, that's awesome. Reinvest that money into renewable energy technology, homelessness. All of a sudden you've cured some huge problems. With probably just 1 or 2 years spend. Anyway, that's me being very, not understanding the full picture from a political and government level. But I think it's just you can be simplistic sometimes and expect a better result. I mean, what would you say the small things? I mean, look, not everybody can install solar power. Not everyone. I live in an apartment, for example, and we're building at the end of the year, so we're definitely going to have every level of technology on that property. But what other small changes can people make to move towards a zero carbon future? What are the little things?
Look, I think each person, like power to the people, really. I think we kind of believe in that a bit, and actively supporting your local members, local government members and things. Also, just the little things. I mean, I've always kind of made a conscious effort. Okay, I found, especially after living in Germany, where it's quite dense, and having a car, it's almost a nuisance to have a car because you've got nowhere to park it, and trying to use it. And so, off the back of that, or coming here and then, where it's very car driven in Australia because the open spaces, but really just putting more of a conscious effort to, okay, can I walk to where I need to go to, or can I use a bike or public transport, or carpool if you wanted some of those kind of things. Also, I mean pushing. I mean, as far as I know, the government doesn't really actually have an energy policy, like a renewable energy policy at all. So, as I said, with your local members, really kind of highlight that and try and make some change there. And just the energy, keeping an eye on what you're doing with your energy at home. Sometimes people learning about what devices use what amount of energy, it's classic, especially when you're designing systems with batteries or off-grid stuff. It's amazing how many people don't know how much a kettle uses, or what it's only a short time, and I'm not saying people should get rid of kettles, but it's just having that conscience about what uses what, how much energy uses what, and just reducing your energy usage in some ways if you can't get solar.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Good stuff. And look, for the final part, just really what's next for Fronius. I mean, feel free to be as shamelessly advertorial as you like. I mean, what's coming next for Fronius this year? And next year?
This year. So we've the Gen 24 Plus is the device and the inverter that's been installed at that lovely home in Queensland there. So we're bringing out what we call, and it's coming soon, is the Gen 24. So that's the Plus series, and the Gen 24 is coming out. So what that is, it's the same hardware, but it's basically a battery ready type system. So in the real sense of the word, I guess you could put it. So the inverter will be cheaper than an inverter that takes a battery already. And then if you want to use the battery later on, then you upgrade that, or you pay for an upgrade over the air, so to say. So it gets you ready for, it gets you a lower cost entry into what you want to do. And on the back of wanting to potentially put in storage later with batteries, then you just pay for that when you need it. So we think that's going to be a big winner and really help out with people making the decision, to use a Gen 24. There's that. We're bringing out an EV charger as well. So we've just been testing that. And it's been sold in Europe for a bit, but we need to get various certifications for here. So that's coming out towards the end of the year. And that will integrate with our monitoring portal. So you'll be able to see from your solar system, how much am I using at my home myself? How much is going to my EV? How much is going to my batteries if you've got batteries? Also, with all our other types of integration with our sector integration products, like the Ohm Pilot, which is a hot water diverter. So all of these products can be used to, maximize your own energy usage at home and from your solar. Yeah, what else? I think probably other thing is we're involved in a lot of projects about orchestration. So orchestration of, distributed energy. So that's like, residential solar and battery systems. The orchestration between that is from networks and other, what they call aggregators. So they orchestrate multiple smaller systems to make it up to be a big system. And allowing more export or produce more energy from your system with that. So they're just some of the highlights, I think, of what's coming.
Interesting, mate. Well, like I can certainly see many blogs coming from Energy Matters to publish some, to promote some of that stuff. So it sounds incredible and a very exciting year ahead for Fronius. Rod, that's us done, mate. So thank you so much for your time today. I do appreciate it. You've been awesome and it's been a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks heaps for yourself, mate. I'm really glad to be a part of this show and also part of the Open Homes show. Has been fantastic.
No, good stuff. Again, once again, for anyone listening and watching today, tune in on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on 9 Life, part of the 9 Digital Network. If you miss it, you can go on to 9 Now. They've got Catch Up TV, and you can stream every episode from Open Homes Australia. This is episode 10. It is the finale, all right, and the home is incredible. Rod, thank you once again, mate, and we'll catch up with you very soon.
No problem, mate. See you again soon too.
Thank you. So, guys, before we finish up, just remember you can get up to 3 free solar quotes and a free energy bill comparison via our website, energymatters.com.au. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Other than that, have a fantastic week, and we'll catch up with you guys next week.